So I moved from one job to another with this various aspects going on this particular day. So first of all, recently returned to the house, passing by Action, decided I'd pick up some more paints for the various bits of furniture and stuff that we've got in the house to be remodelled. So this is one. It's just sort of an off. This one's a sort of an off-white. That's a stain cover, which is useful as quite a good sort of primer for one or two bits of the furniture which are quite badly stained. And it's, I think it's sort of €8 a tin, so not too bad for that. 2-in-1 stain cover, and then we got a bit of colour for some of the furniture, which is urban green, which sounds interesting. Not dissimilar to sort of a sage green, I'd have said. But anyway, they're calling it urban green. And then decided that the window upstairs, which is in bedroom 1, which was the old external window, I'm going to bring it in black. I think it'd make quite a nice feature of that, black satin. So that's the wood for that. And also there'll be plenty left over of that. I'll be able to use it on other bits and pieces around the house. So there's my latest selection of paints for use on the house renovation. And then having a quick look at this did some painting one evening, obviously with the lights drawing quite quickly now. So this was done under sort of artificial light. This is the urban green I've put in over the modular units that I made up. Because I'm thinking that wall's going to be sort of a beigey colour or a sort of earthy colour, and so it'd be quite a nice sort of contrast to go against that. So that's what I've gone for. So it's kind of difficult to see it in the sort of the artificial light. But anyway, the following morning I did a quick video of it again, so you can see it. And also the top of the window seat as well. So that's the colour there. I think it's quite nice. It's not bad at all. Sort of a greeny grey, I suppose you'd call it, or grey green, whichever way around you want to work. The description of it, but yeah, I think it works quite well. Still not exactly decided if that's the exact layout for how those mod units are going to go, but anyway, that's that bit of painting done. Kind of happy with that. Happy with the window seats, looking quite nice. And then moving on to a bit of linseed oil in the second bedroom to bring in the timbers there. Really, really pleased with the look of that. It's really made a lovely effect on that side, as it did on the other side as well, the bedroom 1, the master bedroom. So that's looking super. Obviously, when it goes on, it's quite dark. And it does lighten. So what I've then done is I've done a quick video on the other side, which shows it after a good sort of week or so's drying. So you really get to see the grain of the wood and everything else. But I'm really happy with, if you remember that at one point the bit in the middle there and the lower part was totally open. That was where I used to wander through from one part of the loft to the other. I know it's all nicely closed up, and so we're back into bedroom 1, and this is the timber as it's dried out over a week or so. So I really like the fact that it's lightened to a degree. So I then got to decide whether I'm going to put something on just to seal that, or whether give it a second coat of linseed oil. But yeah, very pleased with that. It's working really well. And then it'll be something like a lime wash for the cob. There's still some bits that just need closing up where the cob's just shrunk a wee bit. So don't panic. So that will get filled in, and then I'll put like a lime wash over it, so that'll be sort of brought in white. So that was the paints that I bought, then the linseed oil that I'd done, and then continuing on with the old fireplace. So now you can see the wood burners in its final position. The flues are in their final position as well. I had some spare rail left over, some ceiling rail. So I decided what I would do is make a frame, attach it to the chimney breast, and then plasterboard that top section, and there was a horrible old board that had been made up and been put in front of that back in the day that the guy had done, but it had lots of useful insulation attached to it. So I actually decided I'll take that insulation off the unit that he had made, and use it into this space here to sort of close this area off and just to give the plasterboard a wee bit of protection as well. So that's the basic frame for that. Roll plugged into the chimney breast, and then you can see there's a plate there put on the inside. That's actually been roll plugged as well, but I've also used a bit of bit of mortar adhesive just to seal the gaps, and then I'll sit in the insulation on top of that, and that should help to stop. Well, the two things actually, there's sort of soot and stuff that comes down occasionally from the chewing anyway, but that should hold that. There'll be a bit of plasterboard can go down the underside of the rail, and with that then that there won't be any dust and stuff keep constantly falling into that what was the old chimney opening. And there you can see that's just some of the insulation that I took off the other unit. I can cut that down and fit that into the spaces. So the first bit I'm going to put in is going to go over that rail there, which would just, like I say, just gives a bit of protection for what's going to be underneath it, which would be plasterboard and then some sort of units. And again, should keep it dry. And then what I've done is I've glued in there was a bit of spare pipe work there as well, ventilation pipe that was in the grange in the barn. So I've bedded that in as well. I still need to just get some more flexible hose just to run in so that there's an airflow that's running from the outside running through to the back of my new wood burner. With it being over 8 kilowatts in power, it needs to have a permanent source of airflow going into it. You can't rely on being sufficient air in the room, particularly in this day and age where we're insulating more and more and we're double glazing everything else. So that's something I'm going to do, and then I'll probably concrete that back section in just where the ventilation is going to run. But that's for another day. So there you can see I'm just packing in the insulation there. The old insulation was there, in and around the flue, top and bottom, and like I say, I can plasterboard underneath that there, fix that onto that, and that seals that off. And then the other insulation there is there just to keep the heat in or the cold out, whichever way you want to look at it. And then plasterboarded in, just needed to dink out a little bit on the left hand side there where the angle of the flue's coming in, and I couldn't quite get the plasterboard in as a complete section there, so nothing too drastic. And I have tested it since, and it doesn't get overly hot at all anyway there, so that's fine. So that's kind of the look of the fireplace in itself is not the focal point of the room. So actually, we're going to be on the other side. That's going to be the heating's going to be at the rear of the settees and stuff. So the fact that there's a chunk of flue exposed doesn't really bother me as such. That's just my heating section. Anyway, that's that hopefully explained. That's a few jobs taken care of in the renovation. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like and please do leave a comment.